Good evening and welcome to the January 28th, 2025 meeting of the Abington Board of School Directors. I note the attendance of all board members. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Abington Board of School Directors has convened this evening's meeting at the Administration Building, and the public is welcome. This meeting is also being broadcast live on the Abington School District YouTube channel. The meeting is being recorded and will be accessible on the district's website and cable channel no later than Friday, January 31st, 2025, to allow those members of the public who cannot participate to view the proceeding at a later time. Comments from citizens will be conducted in person and by phone. Information regarding participating remotely in public comment will be displayed on the screen at the time of public comment. The board thanks the public in advance for its cooperation. This is a place where we hold dignity in high regard, and everyone's voices are respected and welcomed in this space. Dr. Fetcher, do we have any additional announcements or additional agenda items?
Yes, Dr. Mowry, I have a few announcements this evening. Before we begin this evening, I would like to first welcome and introduce our Abington Senior High School student, Selena Wu, who was recommended by the Abington Senior High School Student School Board Member Committee and chosen by her peers in a subsequent student body election to serve as the very first student school board member. Selena is a junior at Abington Senior High School. She has consistently exemplified academic excellence, ranking in the 95th percentile of her overall student attendance. She has also met all required service hours and is a valuable member of the Abington Senior High School Asian Student Association. Selena will hold this position for duration of the school year, and I'm proud to have her serve as an outstanding leader and representative of the student body. Dr. Mowry, I present to you Ms. Selena Wu. We are our school board's first student school board member.
Selena, we are very pleased to seat you as a non-voting member of this board and feel confident that you're going to represent your fellow students well in our conversations. So welcome.
And continuing with some announcements, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that January is School Director Recognition Month, which aims to honor school board members for the time and commitment they bring to leading our schools throughout the year. I want to thank all 9 of you for volunteering to provide this important service to our community and supporting the students of Abington Township and the Borough of Rockledge. I know that the job is not always easy, but I would like to extend our appreciation with these certificates acknowledging your dedication. I'm going to ask Ms. Flanagan to please distribute the certificates. Thank you. And that concludes our announcements this evening.
Okay. With that, we will move on to opening comments from board members. Mr. Allen.
Nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Brown.
I would just like to say welcome to Ms. Wu again, and I will, Selena or Ms. Wu, I'm still trying to decide which one, but I'm so excited that you are here. Selena, thank you so much for your presence.
Ms. Eisenhart, sorry.
Sure. Good evening, everyone, and welcome.
Mr. Mohammed.
Welcome, Selena. Student leadership is vastly important, and student voice is vastly important. So we are so happy to have your voice on this board. I also would like to take this opportunity to invoke the name of Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who dreamt up the concept of Negro History Week more than a century ago. Negro History Week became Black History Month and has always been meant to be a celebration of years-long learning of Black history. And so I was honored to vote yes in adding the AP African American Studies course to the senior high school's program of studies. And I encourage everyone in our community to take advantage of the opportunity and the richness to learn Negro history, Black history, and use that to inform yourself and to become better citizens and make strong contributions to our society. Happy Black History Month, and good evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed. Ms. Spalding.
All I want to say is just welcome everybody. Have a good evening.
Ms. Hartman.
Welcome, everyone, and welcome, Selena. We're happy to have you.
Ms. Fraser.
Yes, welcome everyone. I'd just like to say that Black history is everyone's history, and also Happy New Year to our Chinese Americans.
Thank you, Ms. Fraser. Ms. Fazy.
Welcome, everyone, and welcome, Selena. We're excited to have you.
I would like to reiterate good wishes for everyone and good learning opportunities about our fellow citizens of African descent. And I also want to take a moment, I meant to do this when we welcomed Selena to the board initially, but to thank Mr. Banks and Mr. Gary and Dr. Swift for the hard work they put in setting up the process and helping to select our new student representatives. So we are grateful for their commitment to the community. Thank you. All right. With that, we will move on to board honors.
Thank you, Dr. Mowry. At this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Swift, principal of Abington Senior High School, and Mr. Charles Grasty, our athletic director, to share some highlights from the 2024 fall sports season at Abington Senior High School.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Dr. Mowry, members of the Board of Directors, Ms. Selena Wu. Congratulations, dear. And Dr. Fetcher. Dr. Mowry, would you like to come up and stand with us as they come in? We're going to get Mr. Grasty in, our athletic director, and he's going to walk us through the honors for our fall and winter sport recipients. So we're waiting for him to come in. Thank you. How are you? Thank you. Over here. Yeah, he's going to walk through it. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, Board of School Directors, Dr. Mowry, and Dr. Fetcher. Tonight, I am very excited and proud to share the outstanding accomplishments of our student athletes, teams, coaches for the fall of the 2024 athletic season. First, I will call to the podium Abington Boys Soccer, who was led by Coach Randy Garber and assistant Isaac Pitko. The Abington boys soccer team won the Suburban One League Liberty title with an overall record of 12-5-3. This is their 6th consecutive league championship. Coach Garber has led his teams to 11 straight District 1 playoffs and reached the second round this past season. Players recognized for individual awards. Abington boys soccer had 11 players recognized for their stellar play, being selected to one of the Liberty Division all-league teams. Abington boys had 4 players who were selected to the first team in the Liberty Division: Daniel Oliveira, Brady Hartman, Brandon Muritage, and Brian O'Neill. We also had 5 players selected to the all-league second team: Nicholas Gray, Justin Waterfall, Owen Gessing, Kyle Kretschman, and Sean Westmoreland. 2 players made the all-league honorable mention team: Liam Malinowski and Brandon Escobar. Also, our very own Daniel Oliveira was named to the Regional All-American Team, First Team All-State, and Player of the Year in the Liberty Conference. Congratulations, boys soccer. We look forward to a bright future. Our next team that will be recognized is our Abington girls soccer team, who is led by Coach Rick Tompkins. The Abington girls soccer team finished their season with an overall record of 9-9-1. In the playoffs, Abington lost a close game to Owen J. Roberts by the score of 2-1. Coach Tompkins and staff, which is made up of all Abington alumni, made the District 1 playoffs for an impressive 6 times in 7 years. The Abington girls soccer had 7 players recognized for their stellar play by selecting them to one of the Liberty Division All-League teams. 2 players were selected to the All-League first team. Madison Oldham, who was also selected to the Southeastern Pennsylvania All-Star team, and Alexis Whaley, who had an impressive 11-goal season. 2 players selected to the All-League second team. Sarah Kaiser, who will be attending Millersville University to further her academic and athletic career, and sophomore Addison Doyle, who also plays on our girls lacrosse team. 3 players selected to the Honorable Mention All-League team. Olivia Capps, who was recently named as the Univest Athlete of the Week from Suburban One Sports, Addison Hayden, our 3-year starter in goal, and Nia Riggs, who has given a verbal commitment to Stony Brook University. Great season, Abington girls soccer. Now, I would like to call Coach Crystal Bruce and Assistant Coach Juanita Waters for our 2024-2025 cheerleading team. They all just came from practice.
Okay. That's all right.
Please welcome our PIAA state qualifiers in competitive cheerleading. On Saturday, January 4th at Central Bucks South High School, our Abington cheerleading team qualified for the PIAA state cheer competition held in Reading, Pennsylvania. The competition will be this Thursday and Friday at Santander Arena. As a member of the community, we would like to take a moment to say congratulations and good luck at States. Your hard work and dedication has truly paid off, and we couldn't be more proud of all that you have accomplished thus far. This is a huge achievement and is a testament to your commitment and passion for the sport. Keep pushing, stay focused, and know that the community will be cheering you on every step of the way. Please wish our competitive cheer team good luck and go Ghosts. Next, we would like to call our boys and girls cross-country teams. Both the boys and girls cross-country teams finished their season with a record of 3-2 in the Liberty League and did an outstanding job in the Abington Invitational, Council Rock Invitational, the Suburban 1 League Championships, and the District 1 Championships. Our all-league selection for boys for the Liberty Division first team was Chase O'Brien. Our second team all-league selection was Jackson Fiola, Nolan Flood, and James Stewart. Also, our PIAA District 1 qualifiers were James Stewart, Sean Wade, Jackson Fiola, Ryan Kawas, Chase O'Brien, Tyler Ramsey, and Nolan Flood. Our all-league selections for girls, first team Liberty Division, Elizabeth Ambrose and Michaela Fitzmaurice. Liberty Division honorable mention team, Fiona Doherty and Anna Tetzloff. Our PIAA District 1 qualifiers for girls cross country was Elizabeth Ambrose, Juliet Bates, Alyssa Carazana, Anna Tetzloff, Mercedes Sandoval, and Michaela Fitzmaurice. Thank you for an outstanding season, boys and girls cross country. Our next team will be the Abington field hockey team. Abington field hockey. Abington field hockey finished their season with an overall record of 5-11-1 and missed the PIAA District 1 playoffs by a small margin. The team included 6 graduating seniors who were excellent student athletes. Our field hockey team had 5 athletes receive Liberty Division All-League honors. First team All-Liberty Division was sophomore Keely Gallagher, who was selected to the Reporter, Times Herald, and Montgomery Media 2024 All-Area Team Honorable Mention. Junior Maeve Link was also selected to the Reporter, Times Herald, Montgomery Media 2024 All-Area Team Honorable Mention. Maeve was also the Philly Burbs top field hockey player in Bucks and Montgomery County. Our second team All-Liberty Division was Junior Brooke Doherty. An honorable mention all-league included junior Carly Hughes and sophomore Morgan Gillette. With us tonight, we also have team captains Sophia Alfizio, team captain Natalie Newman, and team captain Rory Trainer. Congratulations to our 2024 field hockey team. Next is our Abington football team. Abington football is coached by Bruce Fleming in his first season. The Abington football team had 2 student athletes recognized by the Suburban 1 Liberty League. Senior John Wright, who will be attending Kutztown University on a full athletic scholarship, was selected by opposing coaches to the coveted All-Liberty Division first team as a defensive lineman. Junior Robert Karapi was also selected to the honorable mention team as an inside linebacker. Coach Fleming has many players returning and is looking forward to an exciting second season as our head coach. Congratulations to Coach Fleming and staff, as well as all the football players who worked hard this season. To the underclassmen, we are excited to see your hard work and passion pay off for you in the very near future. Thank you. Our next athletic team will be golf, who was coached by Jerry Frasca. Coach Frasca had a fun and exciting first season at Abington Senior High School. His enthusiasm and passion was shown throughout the season. Our golf team finished the season with 6 wins, including a record-breaking score of 186 versus Neshaminy, which was the best in the Suburban 1 League. Max Hayes, Will Goldstein, and Eli Greeley qualified for the Suburban 1 tournament. Max and Will then qualified for the District 1 tournament. Max Hayes received first team All-League, and Will and Eli received second team All-League in the competitive Liberty division. Senior Tyler Manwarren shot a career best 36 at Fox Hollow versus Quakertown High School. Andrew Ledbeater shot a career best 35 at Middletown Country Club versus Neshaminy. Congratulations and thanks for the exciting season to our golf program. Our next athletic team will be girls tennis, who is led by Coach Honora Hegarty.
Woo!
Our girls tennis team finished the season with an impressive 8-5 record, which is third in a very challenging league, and had 7 players selected to the Suburban 1 All-League team for their stellar play. Coach Hegarty extends a special thank you to this very talented and successful group of seniors. 2 players were voted to the All-League first team: Regina Kamerschik and Emerson Wildman, first team doubles. 4 players were selected to the All-League second team: Rogatal Sal and Vanessa Coleman for doubles, Jane Pickford in singles, and Gabriella Corny L. Arguello for seniors. We also had an honorable mention selection in Jessica Chaco in singles. Also with us this evening is Kayla Young, who played 4th doubles, also contributing to the morale and spirit of the team. Amila Aswald and Tori Hernandez also brought morale and spirit to the program. Thank you to our girls tennis program. Our final fall sport, an Abington Senior High School District 1 qualifier, was our girls volleyball team, coached by Coach Dan Marsh. Our girls volleyball team made their 4th straight appearance in the District 1 playoffs and finished with an impressive 14-5 record. The team had 3 players selected to the Suburban 1 Liberty Division All-League. The team had 3 players selected to the Suburban 1 Liberty Division All-League. Mary Carter and Sasha Moody were voted to the first team in a difficult Liberty Division, and both were selected to the honorable mention All-District team, which consists of top players in the entire District 1 high school sports. Sophomore Sophia Henninger was selected to the honorable mention Liberty Division All-League team and has a bright future as a student athlete. Mary Carter also became the 2nd athlete in Abington history to reach 1,000 assists. Sasha Moody became only the 4th athlete to reach 500 kills in the program's history and will be attending Bloomsburg University on an athletic scholarship.
Good.
Thank you to our girls volleyball. The athletic department would like to thank you for your continued support for our Abington student athletes. Thank you.
I'd like to thank our students for their hard work and bring recognition to Abington School District. I'd also like to thank our parents and family members who ensure that students get to practices, go to games, and have probably most of the students up there have started, not this year, for many years, a lot of dedication, and it takes a family to do that with our students to support them. So I appreciate all of your support as well.
Thank you, Dr. Fetcher. I want to add my congratulations to our student athletes as well, especially that portion of the girls' volleyball team that turned out to represent. Well done, ladies. This takes us to agenda item 3, yes?
Yes, we have no further honors this evening.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we are now turning to comments from citizens. Comments from citizens are being conducted both in person and by phone. The phone number to participate in public comments is 267-715-3717 and is being displayed on the screen at this time. You will be able to join the meeting by calling in on your mobile or landline phone. A citizen will be recognized once during this period of the meeting, and each citizen's comments will be limited to a total of 3 minutes, except at the discretion of the president. Time may not be yielded or otherwise transferred by one speaker to another for purposes of extending a given speaker's time allotment. If there's anyone present who would like to make a comment, please use the microphone either to your left or to your right.
Good evening, Board of School Directors and Central Administration staff and good folks of Abington Township and Rockledge Borough. My name is John Spiegelman. I am Township Commissioner for Abington Ward 11, which is where we all are right now and is the home of the venerable current middle school. In the spirit of transparency, I want to share that when I took the survey, as I think a lot of us did, about the different potential futures of the middle school, my first choice actually didn't win. What you're considering tonight was not the choice that I voted for. But nevertheless, I'm here in the enthusiastic hope that this esteemed body will please vote to move forward with the construction of a new middle school and the associated referendum for funding. I know the middle school well from back in the day. Some of you might recall it used to be called the junior high. I volunteered there on the musical and some other capacities for many years, and I know how old it was then, and I know how much it's aged since. And it is time for us to make this very significant investment. This is certainly an investment in the future of our entire community, future generations. But this is an investment in ourselves. This is an investment in our properties, the properties we own now, the ones that we might hope to sell one day or pass along to our children. Their value is absolutely and inextricably linked to the future of this middle school, that special place where all the elementary students of our school district meet for the first time and go to school together. I liken it to a situation that my wife and I were in, have been in this winter, when we were faced with the impending and eventual death of our furnace, and we had the choice between spending a lot of money to keep our old oil furnace going, or a whole lot of money, much more, to invest in upgrading to gas so that we would actually have a house that is worth selling one day. We made the latter choice, and it was a critical investment. To do anything else with regard to the middle school would be a divestment, pitting continued repairs and duct tape to an old building against the education of our students in the future. So again, I'm putting my trust in you to make the correct choice, and please invest in this new middle school. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your voice. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment?
Yes, hi. My name is Eileen Denton. I live on Moreland Road in Abington. And I'm here tonight just to follow up on a conversation that I've had with Dr. Fetcher and some staff at the high school. And my concern is the lack of staffing in the senior high school library. So just for some reference, I am a youth services librarian, so I do have some knowledge in this area. I understand that there's a lot of concern about reading scores. Nationwide, of course, there's issues with that, but more importantly, in Abington School District. And I know that a lot of times a great deal of money is spent, purchasing curriculum, hiring, professionals to do trainings and things like that. But I think something that's really important that's overlooked is having qualified teacher librarians in the library. So it's standard in a school to have one full-time librarian per 1,000 students. So as you know, so that would mean we should have 2 full-time teacher librarians in the high school. Currently, there is only 1 full-time teacher librarian in the high school. And what that means is that, for example, last week there was a sign on the door that said, "No Chromebook help today, we're understaffed." That means that there are not people there to give students guidance on finding books to read. One of the things that I've heard my kids say is that when a block, the block schedule is really long and there's an extra 10 minutes, the teachers trying to give them a break will say, you can take out your phones for the last 10 minutes. But how much better would it be if they were to say, take out your, independent reading book for the last 10 minutes of class? And what an impact that would have if that happened, even 3 times in a week. That's 30 minutes of reading that they wouldn't otherwise be getting. One thing I'm really happy to announce is that my understanding is that Abington will be honoring IDs, the student ID cards, as a library card, so that every student in the middle school and the high school will be able to use their student ID to check out reading material at the library. But I really wish that the importance of having 2 full-time, not one day here, one day there, the importance that would have an impact on the reading scores and love of reading of the students in the high school. Thank you.
Thank you for your voice.
Good evening. I'm Jen Rackow. I live in Elkins Park, and I'm the proud mom of a 6th grader at Abington Middle School. My first comment tonight, I want to thank Dr. Mowry and former President Brown and the Board of Directors, along with Dr. Fetcher, for choosing a months-long, probably longer, process with so many opportunities for all of us to provide input about the middle school referendum and the possibilities. And like the commissioner who spoke a few moments ago, my first choice is not the one that I think you're most closely considering. And that's okay, because that's what these processes do. But I'm here tonight to also thank you for taking on the data, choosing to invest the time to analyze it, and being so transparent with your tools and with everything else along the way, and to offer my support for the referendum for the new building on the current site. The analogy I've been using lately is that of a car. I tend to keep my cars for a long time, and at a certain point, it's throwing good money after bad. The repairs get more expensive, they're more about systems, and you have to make the decision to buy the new car. I think that's where we are right now with the middle school, from everything that you all have shared and that I've read. And I would much rather see us use taxpayer dollars to invest in the future in a building that is safe, that is ADA compliant, that has space for small and large group learning, that kids can collaborate and do projects and learn 21st century skills that they're going to need and maybe have a window or two in a classroom, than keep throwing good money after bad and getting diminishing returns in a facility that will continue to fall apart. So thank you for your time, for all of your work, and I know that it's going to be a lift, and I wish you all the best of luck as you walk this path. Thank you.
Thank you for your voice.
Hi, my name is Len Zangwell. I live over in Glenside, and my son is a ninth grader at Abington High School. And I just want to reiterate the comments of the previous two speakers about the referendum coming up in May. I strongly support the option of build a new middle school in the general campus where it is. I hope the referendum passes. I want to also echo the comments about the transparency of the data collection process. Citizens who are interested had plenty of opportunities to learn about the options, to give voice in terms of a couple surveys, an open house in other vehicles, and also to understand the different options in terms of what it means for them and the impact upon them. And I think that I'm also glad that the school board is choosing to build a new middle school as opposed to trying to fix the old one, because once you open up any construction project, you never know what you're going to find. And I think it'll be a lot easier to control the ultimate costs of the project if you can design it from scratch versus reacting to surprise after surprise after surprise, which is what the current middle school would represent. So thank you for your courage in taking on the process to do this and putting the referendum out to the citizens. And I hope it passes tonight and, of course, at the election in May. Thank you.
Thank you for your voice. Next. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry. My name is Ashley Bram Johnson. My kids attend Rydell Elementary School. I wanted to also voice my support for the school board and the Abington School District at large. I too, the option that you're going ahead with was not my personal first choice, but I am wholeheartedly behind it. I appreciate the clarity and transparency that has been shown throughout discussions around the middle school building proposal, especially the constant input that has been asked for from the community at large. My family chose to move to Abington about 5 years ago, and the primary reason we chose Abington was the reputation of the school district, not just in state assessments, but from the feedback given to us by other families already living within the district. And this is not new. In many of the families we know, the parents are also alumni of the Abington School District. This showed us as a family that Abington would provide a stimulating and safe community for our own kids and has demonstrated this for decades. A community that prioritizes education is a community making an investment in its own future, not only attracting new families to the area, but also holding on to those families into the future. Therefore, me and my family support putting the middle school referendum question on the ballot in the primary election in May, and we look forward to it passing with the support of the community. Thank you.
Thank you for your voice. Anyone else in the room?
Of course.
Hi, Joe Rooney. I live in Ardsley. And like the other speakers, this wasn't my first choice either, but I'll take a little different perspective. Somebody has to throw a little water on this enthusiasm, because at the end of the day, you're going to borrow $285 million and you're projecting 5.5% interest over. Mr. Lionetti had chosen 40 years for a repay. So I'm just going to say it was 25 to 30 years. And that's basically a $25,000 lien on every one of your neighbors' homes for the next 25 years. So there's real numbers that apply to all of this stuff. And I would like you all to actually go to your neighbors and explain to them how that is the best investment that we have in education. Because spending crazy money on a capital project is not an investment in education. This $285 million over, if it's 25 years, will come out to be a $582 million payment. That'll be the total cost of this project. In 25 years, we'll need to replace the roof. We'll need to probably put a new HVAC system in also, all right? This building has zero impact on education. There's no money for a better curriculum in it. There's no money to pay good teachers more money. None. And I liked with Mr. Spiegelman here because $285 million is 2.5 times what the current township budget is. So they like, another thing, putting crazy money out there because it makes their next tax increase even more palpable, all right? Just to put it in perspective also, besides 8% inflation rates that we're going through right now, the county's going to increase all of our taxes 10% this year. So what does a $1,000 a year increase in everybody's education part of your tax bill look like? Let's just say that you're a person making 18 bucks an hour. That's 55 more hours of work every year in order to do it. 1 minute, great. Okay. Let's say you make a $15 pizza and you sell it, and you make $5 profit if you're at Longitano's or Rizzo's or somewhere else in your neighborhood. That's 200 pizzas more you've got to sell each year just to pay these taxes. And I'm not including all the other fees associated with making money. How about if you're on a fixed income? That's $83 a month. That's $1,000 a year for 25 years. I wish one person on this board would go, what can we afford? What's the best thing that we can invest $200 or $500 million to improve the education? At least we could have had that discussion, and we haven't had it, okay? I'll stop right here. I got more. I'll do more in the second half there. Thank you.
Thank you for your voice. Mr. Green, can you confirm that there is no one on the phone?
There are no callers on the line.
Okay. Do we want to wait a minute just in case, or are we good?
It's up to you.
Okay, all right. All right, I think then we will move on to agenda item. Mrs. Brown, did you want to say something? Okay. Sorry? Jeff? I have nothing to say. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Dr. Fetcher. Is there anything you want to add?
I would like to address the staffing concern that was brought to attention in terms of the library. This is the time of year where we examine staffing projections throughout, and definitely have had very positive conversations with Ms. Denton, and appreciate the opportunity to sit down and discuss that, especially from her perspective in the field. But these are things that throughout the budget process we will be looking at, and looking at assignment of tasks as well within the library. Currently now there are two librarians staffed. One is assigned to the librarian, and to the point of what Ms. Denton did bring tonight is that being the whole task of that person. We have a career path. The other librarian is now assigned to career pathways and that program. So if we look at our certified librarians within there, there are two. However, Ms. Denton brings a valid point that if only one of them is assigned to that, the numbers and ratios of students to librarians are higher. So I just wanted to recognize that comment this evening, and also thank you, Ms. Denton, for your continued discussion with the administration and bringing forth your concerns.
Thank you for that. I do think with the district's renewed emphasis on reading and literacy, I appreciate your willingness to consider those observations. Okay. With that, we can move on, I think, right, to agenda item 4. Okay. Ms. Hartman, can you please make a recommendation regarding, oh no, we don't have any additional agenda items. I'm sorry. So not agenda item 4, agenda item 5. Ms. Hartman, can you please read the recommendation to approve the personnel addenda?
That the Board of School Directors approves the changes in personnel as reflected in Personnel Agenda numbers 5.1 and 5.1A. Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Dr. Mallory. The personnel addendum includes changes of status for 2 professional staff members, as well as compensation for IP meetings and interpreter and translation services.
Okay. Are there questions or comments from the board? No? Nothing? Okay. Ms. Flanagan, this is a roll call vote.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Fazy?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye. The ayes have it. The motion passes. Ms. Hartman, can you please read the recommendation for approval of the financial report?
That the Board of School Directors approves the financial report for the period ending November 30th, 2024, as reflected in addendum number 6.1. Second.
Dr. Fetcher, we have a second.
Thank you, Dr. Mallory. I'm going to ask that Mr. O'Neill please summarize the November 2024 financial report.
Thank you, Dr. Fetcher. Financial report, board meeting comments for the period ending November 30th, 2024. With regard to revenue, as of November 30, we received $141.9 million, which is 75.3% of the $188.4 million budget. As of November 2023, we had collected $134.1 million, which was also 75.3% of budgeted revenue. Year-to-date, we are $7.7 million ahead of last year, which is due primarily to the Act 1 index real estate tax increases and earnings on investments. Regarding expenses, year-to-date, we expended $67.6 million of our $199.6 million budget, which equates to 33.9%. For the same period last year, $63.7 million was expended, which was 33.5% of the then $189.9 million budget. This concludes the November financial comments.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. Dr. Mallory, we can answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? This includes you too, by the way, Ms. Wu. Did you have a question? Okay, all right. Nothing? Okay, Mrs. Flanagan, this is a roll call vote.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Fazy?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye. The ayes have it. The motion passes. Ms. Hartman, can you please read the recommendation for approval of the payment of bills?
That the Board of School Directors approves the payment of bills for the periods ending November 30th, 2024 and December 31st, 2024, as reflected in addenda numbers 7.1 and 7.1A. Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Dr. Mallory. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding the payment of the bills.
Questions or comments? Okay, it's another roll call vote.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Fazy?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. Ms. Hartman, can you please read the recommendations for permits for use of buildings and grounds?
That the Board of School Directors approves the applications for permits and use of buildings and grounds as reflected in addendum number 8.1. Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Dr. Mallory. The permit addendum continues to reflect requests for buildings and grounds for meetings and other school events and activities for this time of year.
Questions or comments from members of the board?
Just a continued thank you to staff and community members who continue to create space for students to participate in activities such as the ones listed here. It really does make a difference, so thank you for all you do.
I have a daughter at the high school. She's a ninth grader. She's on the tennis team. And
She was here tonight.
she was here tonight. The beauty of an education system that provides so much for students to do so that they're not bored, so that they have opportunities to enrich themselves in ways that go far beyond the classroom, so that they have safe spaces in their schools. A lot of students come away from their high school experiences remembering these moments much more than they remember midterm week. And so these moments are so important and impactful when it comes to a high schooler's time with us. And I just want to echo what Ms. Brown has been saying for years now in regards to this particular agenda item.
Anyone else?
I did like remember my midterms and finals. So it was an exciting time of my life. So
Yeah, when they were over.
sorry, couldn't resist.
Thank you to Mrs. Brown and Mr. Mohammed for their remarks. The commitment of our teachers and our community members and our parents to ensuring that our students have these opportunities is really an integral part of what makes this district great. So with gratitude. Oh, you want to add one more thing?
One thing.
All right.
Look at the time that these events end.
Yeah.
That's commitment on the part of teachers. That's commitment on the part of students. That's commitment on the part of parents who have to drop off and pick up. There's a lot here.
I remember those.
Yeah. And so schools are such important spaces in our community.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. All right. Anyone else? No? You good? Okay. All right. Mrs. Flanagan, this is a roll call vote.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Fazy?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Ms. Hartman, can you please read the recommendation for permission to advertise for bids?
That the Board of School Directors approves the advertisement for bids as reflected in addendum number 9.1. Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Dr. Mowry. This evening, we have 5 requests for permission to advertise. First is for access control district-wide. Permission is requested to advertise for purchase and installation of access controls for up to 34 doors across the district. This is in part funded by the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency grant. Next is for the Fiber Optic Metropolitan Area Network, or MAN, services. The MAN is used to connect the main campus, comprises administration building, middle school, senior high school, and Copper Beach with the other 6 elementary schools and transportation department. Floor replacement at McKinley Elementary School. Permission is requested to advertise for work related to removal of carpeting at McKinley Elementary School and replacement with vinyl composite tile or VCT flooring. Next is for the HVAC upgrades at McKinley Elementary School. And the final permission to advertise is for a wheelchair accessible 9-passenger student transportation van.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Questions or comments from my fellow board members? No? I know that there will be a lot of McKinley families who will be happy to see those floors replaced. All right, Mrs. Flanagan, this is a roll call vote.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Fazy?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. Ms. Hartman, can you please read the recommendation for awards of contracts?
That the Board of School Directors approves the awards of contracts as reflected in addendum number 10.1.
Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Dr. Mowry. Tonight, for your consideration, we have 2 awards of contract and 1 rejection of a bid. The first award of contract is for a capital lease financing agreement for one 30-passenger school bus. And the next award, which we are extremely excited after a few years to bring this to you, is for playground renovations in Abington School District elementary schools. This award is to renovate all elementary school playgrounds in the summer of 2025, with a number of pieces of inclusive play equipment installed at each school, resurface all play areas with rubber poured in place surfacing. The project will improve the inclusivity and accessibility of our elementary school playgrounds. I'm going to ask Dr. Melkor to expand on the playground renovations.
Thank you, Dr. Fetcher. As Dr. Fetcher mentioned, this has been a multi-year process. We began all the way back in December of 2019 with a playground consultant completing the evaluation of all elementary playgrounds for accessibility, condition of equipment, recommendations to improve the inclusivity and accessibility. We began the permission to advertise process back in 2021 with a permission to advertise for wood fiber carpet, which was an improved playing surface. We unfortunately did not have any vendors submit bids for that work, but that did give us an opportunity to go back and continue to evaluate surfaces for the best surface to recommend to you for utilization to ensure accessibility. We also had opportunity then to meet with CPAC, Special Education Parent Advisory Council members, as well as district staff and members of the special education team with regard to recommendations for both surface as well as equipment. Through that process with each iteration, we needed to go back to our consultants for additional reworking of playground design because different surfaces have different fall zones, different requirements for the pieces of equipment. We ultimately now are at the point where we have put this project out to bid 3 different times. The first 2 times over the course of 2022, 2023, and this past fall, we only had 1 bidder on the work. We had concerns with the bids that came in those 2 initial times that we advertised for this work, and ultimately recommended rejection of those bids. Back in October, at the same meeting where you approved rejection of bid, you also approved a rebid, and you see the results on the screen. We had 3 different vendors submit proposals, more competitive quotes for all of the work to occur this summer. So as Dr. Fetcher mentioned, this will be poured in place surface, which will be the type of surface, if you're familiar with everybody's playground in Horsham, that's the surface that will be utilized to ensure accessibility and also that not only to the surface and the playground equipment, but also then to have playground equipment installed that is accessible to all students. Mr. Curtin will be phasing this work over the summer so that between the end of the school year and hopefully within the first couple of weeks of the school year, we'll have all playgrounds completed, which is far beyond what we initially expected was going to be able to happen with this work. The bid packages included an option for work completion in summer 25 and summer of 2026. But with the results of the proposals that came in, we'll be able to accomplish everything this summer. So it's been a process. It's been 5.5 years, but we're finally at the point where we'll be able to have this work completed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one comment that I would make is throughout this process in working with our community, we were able to eventually get to the surface that was what I'm going to say the best for rating for accessibility. So although it's a long process, I think that in the end product is going to be better for our students.
Thank you. Comments or questions from, oh,
I have one more.
oh, I'm sorry.
I have a rejection of a bid as
Okay.
well this evening to recommend, and that is for the 9 replacement 72-passenger student transportation buses. The reason why we want to reject the bid is because of lack of inventory and failure to meet our specifications.
Okay.
Thank you. That concludes.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, we're sure?
We're sure.
Okay.
Positive.
All right. Questions or comments from my fellow board members?
Yes, for the previous slide, I was curious if we've received any state funding or federal or state funding in the form of a grant to help offset the cost.
Dr. Melkor.
For the playground, right?
Paving, yes.
Okay.
For the playground work, I'm sorry, I thought you meant the
Yes.
advertisements. For playgrounds, no. We did over the course of the years that we were working toward this result, we did explore a number of grant opportunities. Unfortunately, we didn't qualify for several, and we weren't successful in the others that we applied for. This will be funded through the bonds that were awarded last year in May.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mrs. Brown?
Yes, I am eager to vote yes, especially for the playgrounds. This has been a long time coming for this vote. What I'm most proud about is not just that students will be able to access the equipment, but they'll actually be able to engage and play with students. I've been to birthday parties, and unfortunately, friends in wheelchairs, their amusement was limited to smiling at the able-bodied students or peers who are able to get on the slide or swing in the swings. But this allows students to have not only access, but to enjoy the equipment. And I think it really does make a difference in how students see one another. So I'm proud to vote yes on this.
Anyone else? Ms. Eisenhart?
Yes, also, just want to add to my excitement on this. Before I was a board member, was part of some of these discussions and conversations through the process as a parent, as a member of CPAC, the parent organization for special education students. I'm thrilled to see this push forward. I'm thrilled to hear that all 7 elementary schools will be addressed at the same time. I think that's a wonderful thing to happen too, and deserves to be noted, that every elementary child that we have in the district and all the wonderful community members and families that utilize those grounds, that they will have access to these improvements at the same time in a timely manner in the summer. I'm just thrilled to vote yes for this as well. So thanks for everybody's work on this, and can't wait to see it.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I didn't get it. What kind of materials will be used on the grounds? I mean, are we going to have AstroTurf or grass?
So
And
it's
will it
a
be
poured
asphalt?
it's a poured in place rubberized surface. So it's flat.
Okay, all right. And I'm hoping they'll have more benches and things out there than they currently have.
In the design benches.
I don't recall specifically for the benches. This was looking more specifically at
The equipment and the floor.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
When do you anticipate it being usable?
Construction will start, it will be phased in, as Dr. Melkor said, will start end of March to beginning of April, and the anticipated completion date should be by the end of August, so all schools should be online from the beginning of next school.
September 2025? Excellent. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. It's been a process. But I'm certainly grateful for the district's perseverance of this, the perseverance of our families, and I look forward to a lot of laughter and fun on these playgrounds for all our students. So I too will be very pleased to vote yes on this, and just want to add my thanks to the district for moving through the construction process in a prompt manner. All right, Mrs. Flanagan.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Fazy?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Okay, this is item number 11, yes? Okay. Ms. Hartman, could you please read the recommendation for Eastern's 2025-2026 operating budget?
Yes. That the Board of School Directors approves the 2025-2026 operating budget for the Eastern Center for Arts and Technology in the amount of $12,500.
Nope.
Oh,
12 million.
I'm sorry, $12,540,989 and a capital assessment of $1,025,000 as reflected in addendum number 11.1.
Second. Dr. Fetcher, we have a second.
Thank you, Dr. Mowry. I'm going to ask Mr. Lionetti if you could please review this item.
Thank you, Dr. Fetcher. Addendum 11.1 reflects Eastern's recommendation of a $13.6 million budget for 25-26 school year. The budget consists of an operating budget of $12.5 million and a capital budget of just over $1 million. $10.5 million of the $12.5 million operating budget is for secondary programs. Addendum 11.1 also reflects Abington's $2.2 million contribution for secondary programs, which consists of $1.98 million for their programs and just over $1 million for our capital contribution. Our increase is $244,000 this year compared to last. Secondary programs are supported by just over $8 million of tuition payments from the eight member school districts. The total tuition reflects an increase of $290,120, which is a 3.85% increase, which is less than the 4.4% Act 1 index for 25-26. Abington's secondary programs contribution is increasing next year by $169,000 as a function of its increased average number of students that Abington has enrolled over the prior two and current school years. Abington's three-year average is 157 students and represents 24.6% of Eastern's total enrollment. The current Abington School District enrollment for 24-25 is 180 students, which is 26.5% of the total student population. The secondary program cost per student is $15,732. However, the tuition rate to Abington and the other sending school districts is less at $12,528 per student, as Eastern's programs are supported by state vocational education summaries, much in the same way that we get basic education and special education subsidies from PDE. Eastern's budget also includes a contribution from the sending school districts for capital improvements to its facilities. The 25-26 school year is year 6 of a 10-year, $12.5 million building renovation project. Each school district's contribution is determined by its relative market value as determined by the State Tax Equalization Board, referred to as STEB. Abington has the largest STEB market value, therefore Abington pays the largest portion of the annual capital expenditures, which is $244,817, or 23.9% of the total cost. Last year, Abington's contribution was just over $253, so actually our contribution is lessening slightly. Abington's combined tuition and capital projects for 25-26, as iterated in the addendum you're considering, is $2.2 million. And is included, and that amount will be included in our general fund budget preparation upon approval of this budget this evening by you. Dr. Fetcher, that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Lionetti. Dr. Maurer, you can answer any questions that the board may have.
Questions or comments from board members?
Yes, just a comment on this. I have the honor and privilege to represent Abington School District on Eastern's Joint Operating Committee. I will enthusiastically be supporting this measure. I believe it is, while it is a substantial investment, it is indeed a highly valued one for our community and for our students. I have the opportunity to witness firsthand the relationships that are created there, the opportunities that the students have, the technical skills and trade opportunities, the vision that they're able to see. It is a beautiful thing that happens at Eastern. I'm proud that the district and the other school districts that have created these opportunities for our larger community even exists. It's something I will be proud to support today, and I'm excited for all of the Abington students that are awarded this opportunity, and I hope that only continues to grow. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll try not to repeat, but I am a big fan of the work that's done at Eastern. I know it is a mandate for us to offer a program, and Eastern helps us to fulfill that mandate, but they go above and beyond the standard of excellence, and I'm also proud to vote yes.
Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay, Mrs. Flanagan, this is a roll call vote.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes, aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Dr. Mowry?
Aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. Ms. Hartman, can you please read the recommendation for the approval of the resolution for electoral debt?
That the Board of School Directors approves the resolution, 1, determining that it is advisable to seek the assent of the electors to incur electoral debt, and 2, calling for an election at the 2025 primary election to seek voter approval for the incurrence of electoral debt for the purpose of financing the construction of a new Abington Middle School as reflected in Addendum 12.1. Second.
We have a second, Dr. Fetcher.
Thank you, Dr. Maury. This time I'm going to ask that Mr. O'Donohue please review this resolution.
Thank you, Dr. Fetcher. This evening, the resolution before you is the culmination of the several-year planning process that the board has and the district have engaged in, and of the meeting 2 weeks ago where the board expressed a desire for a referendum question to be presented for the new middle school option. The resolution is in accordance with the Pennsylvania's Local Government Unit Debt Act, and it makes the determination that the board has determined it advisable to seek the approval of the electors, calls for the election at the primary, sets the referendum question as shall debt in the sum of $285 million for the purpose of financing the construction of a new Abington Middle School be authorized to be incurred as debt approved by the electors, provides the notice of the election that will be advertised, authorizes, directs my office to coordinate with the County Board of Elections, and authorizes the administration to do, the superintendent or his designee to do whatever else is necessary to get this appropriately on the May primary ballot. Much of what's required is specified in the law. It's not a matter of discretion, so the format of the question is actually dictated by the statute.
Thank you, Mr. O'Donohue. Questions or comments from the board?
Please.
So we've been at this for a couple of years now. At the beginning of last year, citizens of Abington and Rockledge told us what concerns they had. They told us what they'd like to see change when it came to the middle school. Over the past few months, these same citizens told us that they are likely to support the one new middle school option based on those needs that they shared and their level of tax tolerance. These same citizens overwhelmingly prefer a referendum, which affords the citizenry an opportunity to make the decision. What we are doing today is saying we are giving you an opportunity to tell us that you are okay with this tax increase, you're okay with this investment in the middle school, you're okay with this investment in the future of Abington students. It's been a democratic process from the start in terms of the multiple opportunities for community input in this decision-making process. There have been, when you go back to that slide from 2 weeks ago, there were multiple opportunities for community members to give input since November of 2023. Through this process, residents of Abington and Rockledge agreed that something needed to be done. And today is just the end of the beginning. We are still working through a process. Information will continue to come out. Everyone is still encouraged to visit 1ASD1Future.org to become more informed, to get the most up-to-date information, because you will be asked to vote in May. And we want everyone to be informed decision makers. Please take part in this community decision. We do not take the trust and confidence that the citizenry has shown us for granted. The community recognizes that they see us as a body that is trying to protect the investment of this district, as a body that is making a decision in the best interest of students. And we're here to make that most responsible fiscal decision for the district, and are turning to the citizens of Abington and Rockledge to make that final decision. And we hope that you will make that final decision on behalf of the children of Abington, the children of Rockledge, for generations to come. I am excited to vote yes on this referendum. I'm excited to vote yes on the referendum in May. And I look forward to seeing the children of Abington get the learning space and environment that they so deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. I think maybe I'll just go down the line, if that's okay. Mr. Allen?
Sure. So beautifully said. It really sums up just about everything in my thoughts. To add to it is that, whatever option we pick, which I think to be somewhat clear, this is the one middle school option, because in the resolution it just has a dollar amount. This is the ceiling, right? Like, this is not saying we're going to spend $285 million. This is the maximum that this project could be. It could come in cheaper, it could come in lower. It could not come in at all because the community votes it down in May. So it's anticlimactic in a way, because it's like we've gone through this long process. The board will vote tonight on a resolution, and then we still don't have an answer until May 20th, until the community votes on it, because we need the community's permission to take on the debt for the funding of this project. So there's not much more to say. I think you really summed it up, and this is a no-brainer for me.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown.
I just wanted a point of clarification. Although in the notice of election, it reads the estimate cost is $285 million. It does not say option 2, but we would not be able to take that money and use it for an option 3 or an option 1 or an option.
Correct.
Okay.
This is a new Abington Middle School. This is not
Yes.
a renovation, and this is not the either two middle school or 5, 6, 7, 8 centers option. So that's the distinguishing language was the new middle school.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that was clear. Just thank you to everyone, including the transparency and standing on that community members were able to come in, community members were able to share which option they liked the most. They were able to view the middle school, and they could go onto that tax collector on onefuture.org to see how it impacts the individual. And yes, we invested in a company or two companies to be able to man all of that because it was worth it. So yeah, my vote is yes, yes today, and yes in May. That rhymes.
I like that. That's a nice couplet.
I like that.
Ms. Eisenhart.
Mr. Mohammed, thank you. That was beautifully stated. One of the comments from the audience today or from the communities, this isn't a direct quote, but it's close. They said communities that prioritize education is making an investment in its own future. I agree. I will be voting yes for this, and I will look forward to voting yes in May for Abington and Rockledge, for my family, for my neighbors, and I look forward to this process and engaging everyone involved as we move forward.
Thank you. Ms. Wu? Nothing? You sure? Okay. All right. Ms. Spalding.
I am on a fixed income. I'm retired. So this affects me in a different way. Not only that, I don't have any children. So that means I don't have any grandchildren or anything either way. I've lived in the community for 29 years, so I've seen the changes and things going. When I saw the costs, I was like, oh man, that's a hell of a lot of money. Not this year, but next year, I will be paying my school taxes, and by writing a check, because my mortgage will be gone. When you pay a mortgage and you have a $40, $50 increase, it's not so bad. But when your taxes, when you have to write a check for an extra $500 or $600, then that's a bit different story. And it is of some concern of myself. And I also associate and talk to other seniors in the community, and a lot of them are concerned about this cost, because this is a significant cost. And they were saying, well, do we really need it? I'd never really been into the middle school, just a little theater part. And so I went in while the school was in operation. That totally changed my mind. We clearly do need the school. And it's not just it's just something that we just have to do. And so I'll bite the bullet like everybody else and find a way to support it. So I guess I can say I represent the senior community. You can see I'm not in my 40s or 50s. I'm in my 60s, so that makes a difference. So I would have to say that yes, I'm going to have to support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spalding. Ms. Hartman?
So I want to start by saying thank you to everybody who spoke tonight and who took the survey and everyone who's been involved in this process. It has been a long process. There have been many, many, many hours and questions and considerations on all of our part. We've spent a lot of time learning and talking and questioning and considering all of our stakeholders in our community, all of them. I can honestly say that we've done our due diligence in the math and the communication and considering everyone, but especially our students, because our students really deserve the best of the best. And that's not just in a building, but also in the educational programming. But they really do deserve the best. And I will very strongly vote yes on this. I think that it's time. And I feel really good about our decision. to move forward with this.
Thank you. Ms. Fraser?
I would just like to thank the board, the community, as well as ICS for your unwavering support and commitment. And I'm looking forward to being able to break ground.
Ms. Vacy?
Yes. So I want to say that I appreciate how vigorous this whole process has been. It's been a long process. It's been a very vigorous process. There's been surveys and studies and really gathering of information and a lot of participation from the community and in going ahead and making sure that we're making a decision or bringing a decision to you for a vote in a referendum. In thinking about this, I talk to people every day about decisions that they need to make about various things, and I often will go ahead and provide them with different options and say, there's the option to go ahead and do this, and there's always the option to go ahead and do nothing. And in this situation, we had a lot of options, and one of the options was to go ahead and perhaps just not do a building and fix the building that we had. And we realized that over time, it may cost more than doing a building. And so I'm really, really happy to go ahead. Maybe this wasn't my first decision, but I think it's a great decision. And I think it's one that's going to serve our community and our students well. So I'm very, very happy to go ahead and put this to a vote in the referendum.
Thank you. So I just want to add to the comments of my board members that from my perspective, there may be no greater public good than the education of our young people. But education doesn't happen in an abstract space. It happens in brick and mortar buildings. And we have a brick and mortar building that is at the end of its life. And as Ms. Fazy pointed out, we are likely to spend as much updating those systems and bringing that building up to code as we would investing in a new building, which will give our students new lab space, new performance spaces, spaces that can accommodate state-of-the-art educational practices. Education drives innovation and it drives opportunity. I am very pleased tonight to support the inclusion of the referendum question on the primary ballot. And I look forward to voting yes, along with my board colleagues in May. But I also look forward to the conversations that lie ahead of us with our neighbors, with our friends, with our families in the intervening months. One of the things this process has underscored for me is the energy and health of this community. Communities that are failing, that are falling behind, have struggled to get this much engagement. And people have just been very generous with their time and with their commitment to the process. So I'm grateful to our community for that. Mrs. Flanagan, this is a roll call vote.
Dr. Mallory.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Allen.
You said something that sparked my mind. You said the word time, and I went to recognize that truly the administration, Dr. Fetcher, Dr. Melchor, I'm sure Mr. Lionetti with the numbers and the team, like the amount of time to get us to this point with such, I think, a mandate, if you will, from the community on what they want is remarkable, because you did this in addition to running a school district every day and all the challenges that comes with for the past couple years, or however. I would be remiss to not mention that. You said the word time and it triggered in my head. So thank you to the administration for all of the hard work you did to get us to this point.
Absolutely, and thank you for that reminder. I know that Dr. Fetcher, Mr. Lionetti, and other members of the administration have patiently and profusely answered our many questions. And so we're grateful for their willingness to get us the information that we needed. So thank you very much for that. All right. One more time, Mrs. Flanagan.
I'm done.
I'm sorry. You're out of time, Mr. Allen? This is a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Eisenhart?
Aye.
Mr. Mohammed?
Aye.
Ms. Spalding?
Aye.
Ms. Hartman?
Aye.
Ms. Frazier?
Aye.
Ms. Vazy?
Aye.
Dr. Mallory?
Aye. With that, the motion passes, and the referendum question will be placed on the primary ballot for May 20th. Thank you, everyone. All right. Reports and Dr. Fetcher, are there additional reports and recommendations by the administration and superintendent?
Yes, Dr. Mallory, I provide the conference attendance and professional leaves report for your information.
Okay. Questions or comments from the board?
Just when I look at the conference attendance, thankful for the staff who go out to learn more or present opportunities for our students, like singing, the choir singing and the jazz band performing and things of that nature. Just thank you for your service and commitment to the community.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? No? Okay. Is there any other business that may appropriately be brought before the board? I believe that takes us to our final opportunity for comments from citizens. Comments from citizens are being conducted both in person and by phone. The number to participate in public comments is 267-715-3717 and is being displayed on the screen at this time. You will be able to join the meeting by calling in on your mobile or landline phone. A citizen will be recognized once during this period of the meeting, and each citizen's comments will be limited to 3 minutes, except at the discretion of the president. Time may not be yielded or otherwise transferred by one speaker to another for purpose of extending a given speaker's time allotment. If there's anyone present who would like to make a comment, please use the microphone either to your left or to your right. Go ahead.
Joe Rooney from Ardsley. When this board began with the current members, I asked, we can't run a $200 million operation with 9 sheep. We need a lion or we need 2 lions. We need somebody up there. We can't be successful with just 9 sheep. So Miss Wu, I know this is hard to believe, but there's an opening if you're interested. It takes courage to do it, but you may have an opportunity here if you would like. We just voted for a $25,000 lien on every house in Abington and Rockledge. It's an assault on the budget of low-income people, of seniors on fixed income, of struggling families. And I'm sure you all don't actually know any of these people, but I do. So if you're interested, I can introduce you to some of my neighbors in Ardsley or North Hills or people that I go to Queen of Peace Church with. And they could tell you about what people put up with every day. And then $1,000 for you all, you don't seem to care about it that much. And that's the most amazing thing. None of you care. There isn't any can we actually afford this? And I'm going to say this also. Spending crazy money on capital projects is not spending money on education, and it's actually an insult to the good teachers who are out there. Because a good teacher is what turns an average kid into an above average kid. And pretending like the $100 million we spent on Abington High School, $121 million, actually improved education, nobody can prove it. There's no empirical evidence for it. So before you spend $285 more, and Mr. Allen, they're going to borrow $285 million in bond money. That money's there. It'll all be spent, no matter what. Abington borrows it, they're going to spend it. So what have we got? You mentioned ICS before. ICS was paid 75 grand initially, then they got another 75,000. Tonight with your vote, they get another 15,000. But then there's this crazy thing in their contract in one of the addendums, and I may be wrong, I've asked, nobody's answered me, maybe one of you will. 10 to 12% of the project. So it looks like ICS, the guys who developed the questionnaire and the website, stand to make another $31 million. That's kind of a windfall. The next thing for you guys, all right, you just voted for $285 million. You put no restrictions on the rate for the bonds or on the duration. This is a huge impact on how much it costs. What about if we can't get them for, you're going to go, what, 25 to 40 years with 5.5% bonds? You guys are nuts if you do that. You're insane. But you didn't put any stipulations. You don't even ask any questions about that. Nobody cares about how much this will actually cost. You've already voted for it. It doesn't matter now, but I'd like to bring it up. Also, wraparound bonds, okay, that increases the project's cost. You ought to explain that to people.
Please take a
before they vote
seat. Your
for it.
time is up, and there are other people waiting to speak.
Would you like to hear anything else from me?
Please take a seat. Your time
I'll
is
ask
up.
for a slate extension.
Please take a seat. Your time is up.
Is that a no?
Please take a seat. Your time is up.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Len Zangwell. I'm still from Glenside, and I still have a ninth grader who's still in high school, will be till 2028. I wanted to thank the board for officially approving that referendum to go in May. I'm very excited about there be someday a new middle school there. I want to respond to a couple of points made by the previous speaker in terms of some of the financials. First, I want to acknowledge this point about good teachers absolutely have a massive impact on students. My son Davis had some outstanding teachers in Abington, and he has really benefited from that. But in terms of the financials, in terms of the bonds at a 5.5% interest, that's the current interest rate right now. But over a 25, 30-year time period, those bonds are highly likely to be refinanced at a lower rate at some point in the future. Governments, school boards, cities do it, companies do it all the time. So it might end up, the average interest rate may be a little bit lower. So I think that's something to keep in mind. I think 5.5% is very, very prudent given the current interest rate environment. Also, in terms of the idea of a lien, I have a mortgage on my house. The lien on my house is the balance of my mortgage. It is not my tax rate. It never will be. Separate number. Once I pay that mortgage off, my house is owned by me, not my bank. And in terms of no curriculum, the physical space contributes to the curriculum. It allows curriculum to happen. The current middle school space was designed in 1950s curriculum, and now we're in 2025. So the design will be able to allow curriculum improvements to happen from 2025 that really couldn't happen before. And as far as the citation of inflation rate of 8%, that was 2 years ago. The current inflation rate now is 3%. So when you're doing your budgets for the construction, I'm sure that you'll use the most appropriate interest rate. So again, thank you for passing a resolution that had to go to the voters. Thank you for allowing the voters to vote on this. I anticipate and hope, given what I understand of Abington, a strong positive support. And I'm looking forward to many conversations that will happen. I hope the transparency in terms of the actual design, actual choices being made in construction will continue throughout one ASD website, open houses, surveys, and that kind of thing. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your voice.
My name is Christine Young-Gertz. I live in Abington. I'm the Abington Township Commissioner for the 10th Ward. But I'm speaking at this moment to you as an Abington resident, a senior citizen, retired Abington resident of about 38 years, whose children left their school days many years ago with the benefit of a good Abington school district education, and they're doing great. And I'd like as much for the children of the 21st century. And I applaud the leadership of this board for bringing this referendum to my neighbors. And I'm looking forward, as a senior citizen, to having discussions with my neighbors and urging their support for our democracy, which demands the best education possible and the facilities available to deliver it. Thank you.
Thank you for your voice. Mr. Green, it looks like we have some callers on the line.
The next citizen for public comment is phone number ending in 8689. Please state your full name and address.
David Judge, Glenside.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, David Judge, Glenside. I just want to take a minute to say that I am in support of the referendum and in support of the new school. I appreciate that you that it'll go up for vote. We as township residents, really deserve to vote on providing the necessary funding for the things that we want and need. And again, I appreciate the transparency and diligence in soliciting feedback. I don't know if in the discussions I ever heard whether or not we have access to any of the new infrastructure dollars for any capital projects like this. I'd be interested to find that out. And then as we move forward, as a board, I hope, you use the role as the board to ensure, that the total impacts of the project are accounted for. The likes of, almost 2 years of construction is going to impact the fields at the middle school and the high school. And I hope that the, athletic department is brought in to start planning now and budgeting accordingly for all those impacts. So thanks again. Have a good night.
Great. Thank you for your voice.
The next citizen for public comment is phone number ending in 1437. Please state your full name and address.
Go ahead. If you can hear my voice, we can hear you.
Hi, good evening. Laura Schlagenhofer, Rosemont Lane in Abington. I don't have a clipboard to go off of notes here, but I just wanted to applaud our school board here and our community for taking the time. Since I believe it was 2023, we started the surveys and gathering community input for this referendum. I am a 30-year resident of Abington, graduated one child out of Abington School District in 2020 and have another one graduating in 2030. So a very long-time parent, current parent of a middle schooler. And I just appreciate the commitment by this community and our school board to continue to provide quality education. And I believe a new building, a new middle school will promote that education, creating good adults and having a good base to grow from and the ability to give back to our community. So I just want to really quickly thank you all for this time. I look forward to the vote in May, and I look forward to engaging more partners in our community to help support this referendum and get this building built. So I thank you all for your time and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you for your voice.
Hear Go Birds in the background.
Absolutely. Mr. Green, it looks like we have one more caller.
Yes, the next citizen for public comment is phone number ending in
Fetcher and Mr. Leonetti.
6019. Please state your full name and address.
Go ahead. If you can hear my voice, we can hear you.
Yes, this is Gene Geld. Have you heard my previous comments?
He's going to speak.
Hello?
Yes, no, we did not.
Okay. All right. Well, the general fund has been overspent $12.5 billion in Pennsylvania with revenues of $9.5 billion. There's a $3.6 billion structural deficit that, if it's not corrected, next fiscal year will be $4.6 billion. So we're going to get some tax increases from the state of Pennsylvania. We're going to get a tax increase of $1,000 a year from Abington. Okay? I think that money is best spent by the homeowner, and that will benefit the children. But my third point is this. Dr. Fetcher
and Mr. Leonetti several years ago used a tax loophole to raise our school taxes. And they did it without a referendum. And the Auditor General said that that shouldn't have been done that way. Now, the way this has been calculated, they've never changed it. But they took away our democracy a few years ago. They would not give us the referendum. Now they're giving us a referendum, you know? So I have questions about the way we've been treated as citizens of Abington, because I don't like them taking my money without me voting for it. And I will vote against this referendum because I don't think he can be trusted. As I said, you're going to give us more taxes, we're going to have tax increases, and we're going to have state tax increases, all right, because of these overspending. And so those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you for your voice. It looks like, can we do one more caller and then we'll go back to the room? Okay, thank you.
The next citizen for public comment is phone number ending in 9908. Please state your full name and address.
Hello?
Hello, if you can hear me, we can hear you.
Yes, I have a question. Was this referendum voted for by the Abington residents?
No, not yet.
Or was this just decided by the board?
I'm sorry, sir, could you state your name?
Yes, my name's Michael Powell.
Okay. And your address?
1221 Mildred Avenue, Roslyn.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So the referendum has not been voted on. It will be voted on May 20th.
Right, but it's only voting on referendum number 2. Is that what I understand from this? Or?
Option 2.
Option 2.
Or option 2, and that because option 1 was just to refurbish the old North Campus, right?
Yeah, correct.
But that's what I'm saying. I took a survey. I was notified about a survey online to about option 1, 2, 3, and 4, but I never got a thing about voting for option 2. Was this for a vote or?
Dr. Fetcher, do you want to illuminate the process?
Yes, the process was to receive feedback from the community on which options they felt were the strongest option, and also along with that, with tolerance for any increase in taxes.
Right.
This information was presented to the board at the last meeting, and the option that you saw this evening on the resolution to go to a referendum was the option that was most favorable in terms of the community. This evening is simply the board accepting the fact that this will go on to a vote in May, and ultimately every voter in Abington and Rockledge will have a decision to make whether or not to support this particular option.
Oh, okay.
Thank
so
you.
There is still a possibility of say yay or nay to the option 2, because I feel that the option 1 for just refurbishing the building makes much more economical sense. I mean, I went through North Campus. I attended that as a student, and then I went on a tour a while back when they had the public going. And this building's a great building. I don't know why they can't just refurbish it at a much lower expense rate. To my way of thinking, if you used, the glass could be redone, and things for the heating and cooling system. I just don't understand why option 2 was the more favorable option. Hello?
Yes? Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yes, I was in favor of option 1, and apparently I didn't know it wasn't put to a public vote to pick an option. It was just a survey.
Okay. Thank you for your voice.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And in May, we'll be notified about this vote. The citizens will be notified.
Yeah, to be on.
Yes, it will be on primary day.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great. Okay, I got you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your voice. Okay. We have another citizen in the room.
Hi, I'm Max Hartman. I live in Elkins Park. I'm a sophomore at the high school, and only because I heard it said earlier during public comment. At the middle school, I had a much harder time paying attention in school than I do at the high school. I think I wasn't doing as well as I do in the high school, and it was not the curriculum and it was not the teachers. It was the fact that you walk into one class and you need to put a jacket on, and then you walk into the next class and you're sweating. Or the lack of sunlight in each classroom because there's no classroom with a window to outside. It's just the building is the biggest issue there. The building at the high school where you can see outside, and the air conditioning, it's even in all classrooms. It's, for the most part, pretty good in all classrooms. It makes it much easier to pay attention to what's being taught and the teachers and your classmates instead of just the temperature change and the lack of sunlight coming into your classrooms. Again, just to reiterate, the curriculum and the teachers at the middle school are not the problem. So, thank you.
Thank you for your voice. Mr. Green, can you confirm that there's no one waiting on the line for a public comment?
There are no callers on the line.
Okay. Anyone else in the room? Okay. At this time, are there closing comments from board members? Oh, Dr. Fetcher, I'm sorry. Why do I keep forgetting to go to you?
It's okay.
It's not personal, I swear.
I just wanted to take a moment to thank those who have spoken tonight and continue to give input into this very important process. And I think the questions that were asked as well about process and what does this mean is very important. And we will continue to provide the community with that information step by step and provide all the information that's asked of us in this process, and also clarify the process as we go along. So I appreciate the questions that were asked this evening. I appreciate the comments, whether for or against the referendum. I believe that we learn from all of our comments that we hear and the voices within the room and calling in. So I want to thank everyone for that, and I will commit as the administration team to continue to provide information to our public and to the board and to answer any questions that people may have. So when it comes time to make a vote in May, that you make an informed decision, regardless of what your decision is. You have all the information to make the best decision, as well as a decision that meets your needs and your needs of your family.
Okay. Thank you. Did you want to add something, Ms. Eisenberg?
Yes, Dr. Fetcher, just to confirm for folks listening this evening that may still have questions or thought of another question today, is it best to direct directly to the district at this point? This process is, complex. Does it go back to the microsite?
Yes.
Where can we find that information?
Yeah, so the best way to do that is all through the microsite, and there's a place there. Of course, however, if people have questions, you can direct them to the administration as well, and we'll make sure you get that information.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? All right, with that, we will move on to closing comments from our board members. Mr. Allen.
So in my closing comments, I think it's important for the community to understand that while we have a very clear direction now voted by the board, informed by the community on the direction of the project, the final piece is really in the voters' hands of whether or not we can take on the money and do the project. So for those that have been engaged over the past year plus, we're not done yet. You still need to continue those conversations. I know I will with my community, the folks in my area, of educating people on the needs of this project to actually make it through the primary. If the community votes it down, then we're really back to square one, and I think we understand we need to do something. We can't afford to do the brand new school without the community's stamp of approval. So that really is an important part. We did not take on $285 million tonight. We didn't float a bond tonight. None of that happened. All we did was saying this is the clear one direction option two, the one middle school, up to $285 million. Community, you have to do your part and vote it how you see fit. And that is a very personal, I've friends that have kids and they love the district, but they've said, Brian, you really want me to vote to raise my taxes? My kids are going to be graduated by then, and when's this? And I'm like, well, that's your decision that you make at the ballot box. But I can tell you for me that this is an important investment in not just the students, but the community as a whole. So many of the comments tonight, I really wish I scripted them because there was a lot of great one-liners that were shared from the community that just reaffirmed that we are going in the right direction. And I hope on May 20th, the community follows through. Thank you. And Selena, you have a great first night to join us. And with this crew, if you got something to say, you have a microphone in front of you. Just say it. I mean, Dr. Mallory's in charge, but, use your microphone anytime.
Oh, that's awesome. Mrs. Brown.
Be it School Director Recognition Month, I just wanted to thank my fellow board members for your service. There's a lot going on in the world today, but we're charged to govern here. So thank you for that. And with that being said, there has been no greater time than now to show radical compassion to our neighbors, to our colleagues, to our friends, to our family. So please remember to be kind, to look out, to say, how can I help you? Do you need a ride to the store? All of those little things, thank you for what you do, thank you for your service, goes a long way for people who are having a very difficult time during this time. So please, radical compassion is what's needed in this moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Eisenhart.
I appreciate being here this evening to partake in this process with the community as a parent and resident, a proud member of the Abington Rockledge community. I look forward to continuing engaging with conversation and dialogue. I think the stakeholders and folks that have questions, I appreciate that you come to the district and ask them. I enjoy hearing them. I enjoy conversating with my community members and my neighbors. And I look forward to that continuing in the months ahead. And just to reflect, there was a lot of great things that happened tonight. And one of them with recognizing all the athletes, it made me think as a parent, there's never a bad opportunity to recognize our young people in our lives and to point out wonderful things, decisions that they're making, how small it is or how big it is, doesn't matter. I was reflecting on that during the presentation, and I was definitely inspired to do that more. So I appreciate that, and congrats to all the family and the students that we celebrated this evening.
Mr. Muhammad.
Yes. My family moved from Fox Chase to Elkins Park during the 2020-2021 school year. I think I'm the newest resident to Abington on this board. Literally just crossing Church Road. We made that move for one reason, right? The same reason that many generations of families move across the street, across Township Line, across Church Road. It's the schools, right? The schools give families a dream, right? And the dream is that your children, my children who are 9, 10, and 4, could get a strong education in Abington. I recognize that taxes can be a burden for members of our community. I posit, though, that taxes are an example of democratic collectivism, communities being able to pool their resources for the betterment of said communities. It's important for all of us to remember that we have to pull together to make sacrifices for the sake of serving the needs of our communities in the best way possible. My now 8th and 9th grade daughters will be approaching college or in college when the new middle school opens. My 2nd grade daughter may experience a year or 2 in the new middle school. This referendum goes beyond current students. It goes beyond personal interest. It goes beyond whether or not we have children or may ever have children in the district. This referendum asks us to make a sacrifice, to make an investment for the benefit of students we do not know and may never meet. Just as we currently benefit from decisions that were made by individuals that we do not know and have never met. Individuals who are long in their graves, individuals who have gone nameless, but we are benefiting from their decisions as we sit here this evening. So vote yes on May 20th. Vote yes on May 20th. Good night. Happy Lunar New Year. Happy Black History Month. Go Birds.
Thank you for the long view of the historian. Ms. Spalding.
As I've already stated, I don't have any children, anybody to benefit. But I've always been close to the kids in the neighborhood. My house has been a house to come to. I've been listed as the emergency contact for several kids. I know one little boy used to knock on my door if he missed the bus for me to take him to the middle school, which I did a few times. But I think about, there's one young man who's in kindergarten at Willow Hills. Name is Kymir. I see him almost every day. I asked him today, what did he learn? He said letters. I said, okay, what letters did you learn? So he told me what letters he learned. I think of him because with him being in kindergarten, he will benefit from this new school. So I say, well, I'm doing it for him and for the other young people that I associate with in my community. So I will vote yes, and I hope you do too. Thank you.
Thank you. And Kymir thanks you. Ms. Hartman.
I echo the sentiments of all of my fellow board members. Everyone has spoken so beautifully about it, and I think we've all said a lot tonight about how we're feeling about this referendum. This decision doesn't come without a little bit, well, I want to say, I want to be careful with what I say, that it comes with concern for, everyone being on board, but at the same time knowing that we are moving in the direction of what's in the best interest of our students and our community. And I think it's the right move. I really do. So thank you to everybody who came out and supported tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Fraser.
Yes, as an outlier, I'd like to acknowledge holiday. Yesterday was Holocaust Remembrance Day, so keep that in mind, although it was yesterday.
Thank you. Ms. Fazy.
Again, want to thank everybody for all of our hard work in going ahead and getting us to this point where we can go ahead and say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and put this out to the community and let them make a decision on this. It was a long, long process and a very vigorous one, and I feel good about it. And I feel good about going ahead and putting this out there, and I feel good about voting on it. And I hope that, my community does as well. I came to Abington largely because of the schools. I grew up in Philadelphia and wanted something great for my kids and for my family. And this is where I plan to go ahead and call home and stay home. And I hope that
Yeah, I would just like to say, as a student of going through the middle school and high school, I also agree that having larger spaces help me and others learn a lot more. And I think recently, in the past year or two, Lower Moreland also built a new school, and I know they have a lot more open space now, and that's also helped them learn a lot more than they have before. And I also just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to have this position and speak for the students.
Thank you. We are grateful to have you here. We really are. This is probably something we should have done a long time ago, and we're glad that you're the inaugural representative. So that's great. I guess I just want to make an observation about things I've heard from my fellow board members. Words. Home, community, trust, legacy, the ties that bind us together, whether we agree or disagree. I was pleased to advance this question to the ballot on May 20th. I think that the conversations that await us, whether we agree or disagree, will strengthen our community. This is our home, and I think we did it justice tonight. So with that, Dr. Fetcher, did you want to add anything?
I've already stated what I have to state, and I thank everyone once again for coming out. And
All right.
I'll use it as an opportunity to say go Birds as well.
All right. All right. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.